Hello, my darlings. Do you know something? My heart is just bursting out to you all this week because, as so many of you know, it's the start of GCSEs, A levels. It's all descending on us in the UK. And I just feel so much for our young people with everything they've been through. Personally, I think exams are completely archaic. It just creates box tickers and exam passers. It doesn't create learners. It doesn't create amazing young people thirsty for knowledge. You know, I didn't sit there at 16 years old doing GCSEs, or even when I went to university thinking, do you know what, Juliana, one day you're going to invent a job taking massage and therapies into schools for children who are autistic and have other neurodiversities. I never thought that. You know, so much of life happens outside the four walls of a classroom. And always, always remember, nobody defines you. And a set of exam grades certainly doesn't. You know, I've done so much training in my life, and a training I did during COVID very clearly said in the statistics that these days a set of exam grades might get you the job, you know, that IQ, but it's emotional and social intelligence, your passion, your drive, the hyper focus, all those things that actually so many people who are neurodiverse have. That's what gets you the promotion. You know, yes, it makes life a bit easier to get a set of exam grades banked. But do you know what? I can remember doing my GCSEs, and honestly, within weeks, I'd forgotten most of the stuff. And if you put those papers in front of me now, I wouldn't be able to do them. And yet I've been to university. So, you know, and life isn't even defined by that, you know. So please, I know this is a really, really, really tough time, but you define you. And so much of life is so amazing. You know, I barely scraped my chemistry GCSE, and now I do talks. Don't mean this in a big-headed way. This is just to give you solid reassurance. I now give talks on neuroscience, of all things. I mean, my old chemistry teacher, who I did make cry, I think he was just having a bad day. I hope it wasn't me. But anyway, he cried. Poor Mr. Matthews. And I think it was because of me. And he would fall off the floor now to know that I actually write papers. I've written groundbreaking papers for different autism sites in America, for instance, you know, for Anna Kennedy Online. I've written those, you know, and yet I barely scraped my GCSE in chemistry. So it's what you do with life. So much is to be learned from life. But in the meantime, while we have to get through this absolutely horrible bit, which I can't believe in 2022 is actually still part of our system, you know, exams, it would be so much better to have coursework. You know, we really are creating, as I've said before, a generation of box tickers. I loathe box tickers. I can't stand them. I've never been able to do it. Sorry. You know, and exam passers. Wow. I'm not being funny, but how about creating a generation of learners? You know, me now, I love learning. I hope I never stop. In many ways, I feel like I've just started. So please, please, please remember, do your best. But there are a million roads to Rome. This is not the only route. But before this becomes a rant and another short film, I'm going to get on with what I've come on here to do today, which is to give you just a couple of, you know, very simple, discreet tips for breathing tips and self-massage tips just to get you through. And you can use these while you're in your exams. My poor youngest son begins his tomorrow, and he's spent most of the weekend throwing up, and he's been throwing up today. And it's just horrible. That's pure anxiety. He doesn't have a bug. He's such a stoical, strong, amazing soul. And I'm not just saying that because I'm his mum. I have it said to me by lots of people. And he's such a strength. and he's been through so much, and yet the poor thing is throwing up because of this. So he's actually had to sit with his mum today. Can you imagine the horrors of that? At least you can pause it or get off of this, but he can't. He has to live with me. So I've been giving him these same tips that I'm about to share with you. So I'm going to get on with it. Right, so the first thing is, and you can do this in an exam, it's called shoulder roll breathing. So what you do is you roll your shoulders back, and as you do that, you breathe in through your nose. And when you roll them forwards, breathe out through your mouth. Really, really simple. You don't need to blow out like a foghorn to disturb the whole exam hall. You could do it discreetly. And honestly, it's fantastic. It feels like you're a turtle with this massive heavy shell, and you're just wriggling your shoulders out of that shell. Breathing. So breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. It will really, really help. Honestly, I've done it before. I've had to do public talks or webinars. I've done it. And even when I'm in a room with people, because now not so much of it is through Zoom, we're able to do it live, you know, in locations. If I do that, I'm letting go of the stress and tension, and I'm clearing my mind. I'm coming out of my shell, literally. Imagine it like that, because you can do this. You've got this. You know, I look back on the GCSEs I did, and I'm not being funny, and I'm not that old. I can hardly remember what they were, and I certainly couldn't tell you all of the grades I got. So just that shoulder roll breathing just brings you into the present. The next thing you can do is just, if you squeeze your arms, and you always do it downwards, so it's a squeeze, hold, release. Squeeze, hold, release. You're not disturbing anybody. You are literally bringing that energy down. So start at your shoulders and just work down the whole arm. Squeeze, hold, release. And it's incredibly grounding, brings you to the present, helps you to feel safe, helps to bring that busy, anxious, chattering mind back into the body, and to help you cope with what's in front of you. And just breathe as you do it. Just breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. So it's really, really simple. And then if you just imagine you're just sitting in the exam hall, and you can just stroke up your arm and breathe in through your nose as you do it, just gently. And then breathe out. And it just looks like you're having a simple stretch. So breathe in, breathe out. And again, this is really, really soothing. And you don't even need to breathe in and out if it feels a bit like, you know, that thing, patting your head and rubbing your tummy, which I've never been able to do. Just stroke your arms. If the breathing is too much, just stroke your arms. And it just looks like you're having a little stretch, and everybody is entitled to a little stretch. You know, you're not flapping around like a wind turbine. You know, you're not clapping other people on the back of the head because, you know, you're wildly throwing your shapes. It's just a gentle stroking up and down the arm. That's all. And this is very, very grounding. And particularly if you are autistic, when you get into that fight or flight, and don't forget, if you're neurodiverse, you have higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol anyway, this helps to release that non-adrenaline, that one that bashes the stress hormone. And it also helps you know where you end and outside begins. Because if you are very autistic and you're in a stressful situation, you can actually get to that point where you can't feel where you end and outside begins. So the arm squeezing and the stroking up and down your arms is very soporific, very, very grounding, quiets the mind, releases the non-adrenaline, and helps you to just breathe and focus and get through. And at the end of the day, in 5 weeks' time, this is all going to be over. And 1 week of that is half term. So you can do your revision, take breaks, do these exercises. And also if you're a parent or you're a teacher of a class, you know, you can either, friends can do this for each other, parents can do this for their child, do one arm at a time. But if you're a teacher, get your class to do this before they go into an exam. You know, get them calm, get them focused, get the kids grounded, because it really will. It fills you with that non-adrenaline, which is key. You can also go into your anxiety point, which I have shared in previous videos, but to save you scrolling back, because there's about 130, if you cup your hand, the deepest point of your palm, you are working on the second brain, which, as I've said before, holds on to stress, anxiety, unprocessed stuff, trauma. It relates directly to the gut, which is the seat of meltdown, fear, worry, dread, all those, overwhelm. So you can even just tuck your hands under the desk and do them one at a time. And if it's hard, and do both sides, because the muscles in your hand relate to the muscles in your brain. So you're working on both sides of the brain. Also in the gut, you have 90% of your happy hormone, confidence, self-esteem, serotonin, but you also have the key one, which is that feeling of reward, dopamine. It releases the neurotransmitter of focus, attention, motivation, concentration. So get it up, get it zooming to the brain, because when you work on here, you are working on the gut, the stomach. You're working on that and pushing that very discreetly up. So it's reducing your anxiety and boosting your focus and attention. And this is neuroscientifically proven. I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I have written groundbreaking papers in America and this country linking the two, and it's proven. So, you know, this isn't airy-fairy, you know, make you feel all right for 2 minutes. This works, and it's been proven through neural imaging and MRI scanning. So it's absolutely grounded in science. So this will help you. The other thing you can do is stretch your neck. So just stretch it. Just put, you know, you can have your elbows on the desk, and it's quite a natural thing to do. You just push your pads of your fingers up your neck like this. You can even rotate and massage. Now that's perfectly acceptable thing to do. If you've been bent over a screen or a computer or an exam paper, you see people do it all the time. They go, oh, and they stretch back, and it's gorgeous. And what you're actually working on directly is the vagus nerve, which, as I've said in other videos, connects the gut to the brain. It's the gut-brain axis, and it pushes that serotonin, happiness, confidence, self-esteem, and dopamine, focus, attention, concentration, motivation. It pushes that up to the brain along with blood and oxygen, which also helps to boost concentration. And you can just put your elbows on the desk and do that. It's very discreet. Nobody can possibly tell you off for doing this. You know, it's just something, and Boo agrees. Did you hear that? She agrees. Boo, the therapy dog, always likes to join in on my videos. So there we are. And the final thing you can do, if you feel, because like my son this week has 2 exams in 1 day. Good idea. Thanks for that one. So if you're feeling really, really tired, I've shown you this one before. You push your fingers up through the roots of your hair. So again, you can keep your elbows on the desk, push your fingers up through the roots of your hair, lift and squeeze. Or if you feel the lifting bit is drawing too much attention to yourself, I've just lost an earring. I'm wearing rose quartz today because it's calming. It's all about love. And, you know, that helps. Sorry, I always have to have a wonky bit. So just squeeze your hair. Just literally, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just squeeze your hair. But if you can get away with just lifting it and squeezing it too, that pushes the blood and oxygen to the brain and surges the brain with all those happy hormones and coping chemicals that I've just described to help you get through that paper. Now, you're going to be all right, all of you. You know, you are defined, and I know this because I'm through and out the other side of it. You are so much more than a set of exam grades. Do your best. Keep these tips handy. The system is what it is. We can't do anything about that, unfortunately, yet. I tell you, do you know what? I'm going to get this changed. But you've got to think, what's out of your control is that. But what's in your control is how you deal with that. And these exercises will help all of you, no matter who you are, no matter what your ability, disability, mobility, you know, it doesn't cost anything. Use them. Please use them, because they will honestly help to get you through. So I'm thinking of you all. I really am. It's a rotten old time. And just do your best. And just remember that all of you, I feel like I've only just started my life. So you really have only just started yours. And there's so much out there beyond the four walls of a classroom. So do your best. Try and stay as clear and strong as you possibly can. And you're going to have the best summer of your lives when this is all over. So take care. I am thinking of all of you every day. I really am. I know I'm a bit nutty, but I am. I can feel you all. I just do. So take care. And I send you all my love and all my strength and all my hope and all my courage. And you're going to nail this. You're going to nail it. You've all been through so much. Bless your hearts. You've been through so much with COVID and everything else. Just do your best. And you will always define you. So I hope this has helped. And I'll check in with you all again next week. I'm being pretty well behaved at the moment. And I shall see you next week. So take care, everybody. Lots of love.